Thank you, Ryan Gill. And happy Mother's Day, everyone. Good to see you all here. And today, Vic Sorrel is in the house. Woo! Thank you, Vic. So, Ryan, I think we have a new day. Is that right?
Every day is a new day.
I wake up every morning with a prayer of gratitude for each blessing that has come my way. I let go of yesterday's, except for lessons learned, and remind myself that I can start all over again. Every day's a new day, another opportunity. Every day's a new day, a chance to be all we can be. Life is a journey we create. Every day's a new day
To celebrate.
Every day's a new day
To celebrate.
Every day's a new day
To celebrate.
Every day's a new day. Every day's a new day, another opportunity. Every day's a new day, a chance to be all we can be. Life is a journey we create. Every day's a new day.
To celebrate.
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 Good morning. Good morning. We have just a few announcements today. The prayer chaplains are available for your prayers. If you have a special need, something out there in your heart if you feel like that you need support with that, our prayer chaplains are always available. So if you have a concern and you would like for them to pray with you, for you, and be made aware of, please email the prayer chaplain request to uofmcprayerrequests@gmail.com. Any and all prayer requests are welcome. We know requests, our prayers are already answered, and we just get that out to the universe that the Spirit will do the work. There will be a leadership council meeting this Wednesday, May the 12th at 6:30 p.m. Please see the weekly happenings for Zoom information. Also, join in the Lunch Bunch, the book club that's going on Zoom. Wednesday mornings from 11:30 till 1. We are reading the book, This Moment is Your Miracle, Spiritual Tools to Transcend Fear and Experience the Power of the Present Moment by David Hoffmeister. Text Karen Burr at 931-581-6116 or see the weekly happenings email for more information. All right, let's sing again.
Loving God, loving each other, making music with my friends. Loving God, loving each other, and the story never ends. They pushed back from the table to listen to His words, His secret plan before He had to go. It's not complicated, don't need a lot of rules. This is all you need to know. It's loving God, loving each other, making music with my friends. It's loving God, loving each other, and the story never ends. We tend to make it harder, build steeples out of stone, fill books with explanations of the way. But if we stop and listen and break a little bread, we would hear the Master say, it's loving God, loving each other, making music with my friends, loving God, loving each other, and the story never ends. Loving God, loving each other, making music with my friends, loving God, loving each other, and the story never ends, and the story never ends.
Good morning.
Morning.
Today's sacred reading, Motherly Love. And the affirmation is, I give thanks for motherly love. Let's say that together. I give thanks for motherly love. God's perfect love, expressing through my mother, gave me life. God's love, wisdom, and strength guided her and all those who nurtured me as I grew. My words of praise and gratitude let me show my mother how much I appreciate her. When I wish to demonstrate my appreciation for my mother's example, I share the nurturing, motherly love of God in my words and actions with all people. Remembering the times when my mother or another compassionate person listened patiently and shared encouraging words, I seek to be caring, supportive presence. Recalling my mother's joy each time I learn something new, I share my skills and knowledge willingly with seeks my help. In gratitude, I share the gift of nurturing love. Today's Bible verse is from Isaiah 66:13. As a mother comforts her child, so I will comfort you. Thank you.
For a time of stillness together and a time of connected openness. I invite you to just relax where you are. Allow your attention to drop to your heart space, the center of your being, the center of life energy. And I invite you just to consider that we are loving God, loving each other. And as we relax into that realization, we just allow the divine spirit to direct our attention to the reality, to the knowing that we are so deeply loved and blessed, and blessed, and blessed, and blessed by all that is and all that has come before. All the good intentions have come before. And so now, in the stillness, I invite you to just feel on your shoulders now the touch of warm and loving hands. These are the hands of your mother as her highest, most healed and whole self. She offers her nurturing, loving energy to you now and acknowledges and affirms your truth as love. She reminds you of your unlimited potential as love and your eternal connection to infinite wisdom and abundant support. Now imagine that there are hands on your mother's shoulders, and there are hands on the shoulders of her mother, and on the shoulders of her mother, and the shoulders of her mother. And behind them all is an infinite lineage of mothers all blessing their children, who ultimately are all blessing you, just as you are willing to receive, even now. So many highest intentions of mothers for well-being, for strength, for clarity, compassion, wisdom, and full life, delivered through each generation to each child, to their child, to their child, and to you. And it's your nature to call it love. And in turn, you show up in life, for life, as this love bestowed upon you, blessing all that you meet, blessing all you touch, blessing all you know. So allow your hands now to turn up in a posture of receiving. And in the sacred silence, simply allow the love to flow. It is our nature to call it love, and in turn to show up for life as this love, blessing all we meet, blessing all you touch, and all we know. And for this realization of the intentions of our mothers, we give thanks. And together we say, Amen.
Holy words, long preserved for our walk in this world, they resound with God's own heart. Oh, let the ancient words impart. Words of life, words of hope, give us strength, help us cope in this world where'er we roam. Ancient words will guide us home. Ancient words, ever true, changing me and changing you. We have come with open hearts. Oh, let the ancient words impart. Holy words of our faith, handed down to this age, shine on us with own light. Oh, heed the faithful words of Christ. Holy words, long preserved for our walk in this world, they resound with God's own heart. Oh, let the ancient words impart. Ancient words, ever true, changing me and changing you. We have come with open hearts. Oh, let the ancient words impart. Ancient words, ever true, changing me and changing you. We have come with open hearts. Oh, let the ancient words impart. We have come with open hearts. Oh, let the ancient words impart.
My. That was beautiful. So beautiful. Thank you. Everyone, I'm a little transported at the moment. I can't think of everyone's names, but everyone who made the beautiful music, beautiful. Tim, Sherry, Jill, and Ryan. Okay, I'm back.
We did our job.
Indeed, indeed. Good morning. Happy Mother's Day. Lovely to see all of you, and thank you for joining us via webcast. This week I was privy to a very powerful conversation in which one of our brightest Nashvillians, Terry Pugh, shared with our group, sometimes we forget who we are, and then we forget we've forgotten. And so as I let that kind of sink in, I decided that maybe we had an opportunity this week to talk about remembering to remember. Remembering to remember. So in that spirit, let us remember we are as enough now as we could ever be. Fully supported to and experiences that benefit all. And we are safe to create these experiences now. And so it is. When we keep returning, we're more likely to remember that as we listen, as we learn, as we allow these conversations to transform us again and again, then we too have the power, because we are the power, to change the world. If we remember, that's why we're here. We must remember to return to love. We must remember there's no opposing force. We must remember that life is only for us and for everyone. We must also remember to take the recycling to the curb on the first Tuesday of the morning each month. We must remember to breathe. We must remember to buy and mail a Mother's Day card before the actual day arrives. Sorry. I don't always remember. But when I think about my mother, let's see. When I think about my mother, it's on. Are we on yet? There she is. When I think about my mother, there are certain things I always remember. Toni Morrison speaks about the most important gift you can give a child is your eyes lighting up whenever they enter the room. And I remember this happening countless times with my mother. And it still happens. And it's still a gift. And I also remember the time she referred to RuPaul as Rupard, or to Sade as Chantel. I once heard from one of her coworkers that mom had shared with her one morning, Victor won front row tickets to see Chantel. You remember her from the 80s. She sang Ooh Ooh Operations and Blue Taboo. For those of you who may remember Sade, she sang Smooth Operator and Sweetest Taboo. And then there was the time I called one evening around 2001 and I asked her what Dad was doing, and she said, well, he's in there doing what he's always doing, on that damn flat top. I often remember her sage wisdom that she's provided over the years, such as hindsight is 50-50. And Victor, there really is no need to make mountains out of molehills. In my family, an estimate is often lovingly regarded to as a ballroom figure. And it goes on and on and on. And if you think these aren't gifts that I will cherish for the rest of my life, well, mirror, mirror on the wall, I am my mother after all. And it's happening, and I'm so grateful to my mom for all she continues to be. And also acknowledging in this space that Mother's Day is not always easy for everyone. It's not always a bright day. Perhaps some of us didn't even know our mothers, or we didn't experience mothers who were in a place where they were able to nurture us in the ideal sense of the way due to their own wounding. Or perhaps some of us have tried to become mothers and we haven't been able to. But many possibilities about why this could be more difficult than joyful seem to fade into acknowledging that we all did have a mother. And regardless of our individual experience, it's an opportunity to acknowledge we are here and that we have life. Because two people came together and the universal process of creation did what it majestically does, and our mothers were part of that miracle. A big part. Something I will always love about this teaching is that it invites us to remember the power of a reframe. If something is not as you would choose it to be, and you've allowed yourself the time to work through the emotional, human aspect experience of it, we can change the way we look at it. And a couple of weeks ago, we said when we change the way we look at things, the things we look at change. So regardless of our own personal relationship with our mothers, we have the option of focusing on the miracle that we are, and that we're here, and that our mothers were a part of that. In forgiving and healing any grievances or resentments we have with our mothers, we create the way in consciousness to receive the gifts. When we remember to remember the gift in honoring the experiences we walk through, then we're open and receptive to the blessings they can bestow. And because there are these beautiful happenings which occur through our origination and our ancestry, generation to generation to generation, perhaps Mother's Day is a perfect time to perceive through that lens. In Khalil Gibran's work, The Prophet, there is a poem entitled On Children, in which the idea is included that children are not your children, they are expressions of life longing for itself. Whew. Expressions of life longing for itself. So it stands to reason that if life longs to express as children, then life longs to express as parents, as mothers, as fathers. So one of my teachers, Reverend Dr. Kathy Ann Lewis, the senior minister of the Center for Spiritual Living in Seattle, wrote the following in response and inspired by On Children. Your parents are not your parents. They are the channels through which life recreates itself. You came through them, but not from them. And though they may still be with you, you do not belong to them. You may receive their love, but not their thoughts, for their thoughts are from their time. New thoughts must be generated within you now, for this time and this place. For life does not go backward or become trapped in yesterday. You are the product of generations upon generations of humankind, longing to give their children a better life than the one that they had. You have done nothing by yourself, even if it may. For the prayers and the petitions of millions of mothers crying out to the infinite to bless and protect their children have been heaped upon you. The prayers and petitions of millions of mothers have been heaped upon you. All of the prayers of all of the mothers, only wanting only the best for their children, are available. Are we willing to receive that now? The cells of our bodies hold all of the memories and prayers and intentions of our ancestors. when we remember to remember, we might allow it to benefit us, to bless us, and in turn to help us be the blessing we're here to be. There's a Jewish saying that God couldn't be everywhere, so he created mothers. And we realize in this teaching that there is a yin and a yang that is the divine, which is comprised of a divine feminine and a divine masculine, both important parts of the creation process. Now, if we were in India, interestingly enough, we might refer to that divine feminine as the divine Ma. The capacity to heal, love, make things right, and the capacity to change. In Christianity, we might refer to the divine feminine as unconditional love, or the Holy Spirit, which is the feminine aspect of the Trinity, being the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Sometimes we fail to remember that it is as the result of the feminine aspect of God's receptivity, it is in us but not of us, that we have access to a power that is far greater than any force on the planet and far beyond mere sentimentality. That is the creative power of love, our fundamental nature. It's the creativity that created us and all that is, which is why it remains as our most intrinsic nature. When all else falls away, only love remains. When your grievances drop, when your dreams fall away, when your hope is lost, when all else is released, love remains. And love is powerful when it is remembered and when it's put to use in a way that is powerful. Consider simply being able to say yes or no and meaning it. Consider the power of being able to stand firmly in our convictions when we know what we know. That's an example of this power. That's an example of the power of love making it possible. Think about a time when it took all the love you could summon simply to say no because you knew for sure a yes was not the right answer. No matter the pain that your no might be causing. And isn't it time for us as spiritually minded people to be in full alignment and complete demonstration of this power that is love? Our power, our nature, for the work of good in the world, for the work of good in our lives, for the feelings of goodness in our bodies, in our homes. This happens through the divine feminine, through the receptivity, through the availability, through the power to change. You've likely heard it said, but it bears witness to say it again. We must be as convicted with regard to our belief in the power of love as a terrorist is convicted by the power of hate. It's appropriate and it is ours to summon the power to start saying no to the dysfunction we see in our own lives, to the injustice and the inhumanity we see in the world, and to start saying a convicted yes to our power to create the healing we know is possible. Martin Luther King, Gandhi, Nelson Mandela, the power of love. The power of love. And interestingly enough, the power of love was the impetus for the origination of Mother's Day. And many of you may not know this, but Mother's Day has its origins in a proclamation that was written by Julia Ward Howe, who also was the author of the Battle Hymn of the Republic, by the way. She was a significant abolitionist and a women's suffrage advocate as well. And basically what happened as the result of this original proclamation, it was centered around the intention to create a day during the Civil War where there was peace, where there was no fighting, when mothers from the Union side who had lost sons and mothers from the Confederate side who had lost sons would come in peace out of reverence for the lives that had been bestowed through them. So interesting that the origins of Mother's Day are in the interest of creating peace. I want to read to you a little bit from this proclamation. I won't read it all, but I'll read a part of it. Arise, all women who have hearts, whether your baptism be that of water or of tears. Say firmly, we will not have great questions decided by irrelevant agencies. Our sons shall not be taken from us to unlearn all that we have been able to teach them of charity, of mercy, of patience. We, women of one country, of those of another country, to allow our sons to be trained to injure others. From the bosom of the devastated earth, a voice goes up with our own. This voice says, disarm. Disarm. The sword is not the balance of justice. Blood does not wipe out dishonor, nor violence indicate possession. A man have often forsaken the plow and the anvil at the summons of war. Let women now leave all that may be left of home for a great and earnest day of council. Let them first meet as women to bewail and commemorate the dead. Let them then solemnly take counsel with each other as to the means whereby the great human family can live in peace. Each learning after his own time the sacred impress, not of Creator, not of Caesar, but of God. In every advanced species, every mother intrinsically, instinctively puts the interest of their babies first. And the Dalai Lama has been quoted as saying, if civilization is to make it, it will be because of an uprising of the American woman. And of course, motherhood is a concept traditionally associated solely with women. But we recognize in this teaching that mother is a place in the human psyche that is an aspect of consciousness. It's the divine feminine that in its receptivity, in its willingness to listen and to consider, that possesses the aspects that are necessary to understand what needs to happen next for healing to happen, for reconciliation to occur, for the womb that is our consciousness to be informed by the divine idea that then when nurtured, protected, and mothered, can expand in collaboration with the creativity of the divine masculine to bring forth solutions. The womb that is our consciousness, available for the idea and nurtured, can collaboratively work with the divine masculine to bring forth solutions. But we must remember to remember we must first be receptive to what love would do with us now in order to truly be what love would do. We have to remember that the divine feminine is an invitation to everyone. And that no matter the state that it may or may not be awakened in each individual, it's always an option. Sometimes we detach and forget to remember that the world we're living in is not sustainable for the long term. Sometimes if we're in our own worlds and our own well-being is not threatened immediately, we may not take into consideration that what's going on is not sustainable. And it's by choice that each of us has to make the decision to become the fierce mothers of a new idea of ourselves for the world, for a new way that is sustainable. As we remember that our uninformed action is of itself miscreation, the mother in all of us has the capacity to be awakened. And through the power that is love, we have the power to firmly commit to being available to the divine ideas that are aligned with that innate wisdom. This is the way for true transformation, for true creativity, for a world that works for everyone through the power available to us through the divine feminine. In the energy of knowing this truth with each of you today, and recognizing the power of the divine feminine, that it might be fully awakened in each of us now, the purposes of good are made welcome. The purposes of healing are made apparent. And the purposes of clarity are clear. In the interest of remembering all aspects of who we truly love, that is our nature, I wish each of you a very, very happy Mother's Day. Namaste.
Thank you, Vic. So let's take just a moment to consider all of the prosperity that we have in our lives, and we have a lot of it, whether it's the prosperity that we have through the love that we have from our family, our neighbors, our friends, our communities, the prosperity that we receive in monies that we get from outside sources. And let's think about ways that we can use that prosperity to give back to our spiritual home. We want to give a word of thanks for that. So let's all say the tithes and offerings blessing. I am open to receiving floods of financial abundance with ease, so that I may be able to give back even more to the world around me. And we do that, and we leave a legacy of love. Who we are and what we believe is shown to the world by what we help achieve. This dream where this loving way to live will stand forevermore, because we choose to give. We are leaving a legacy
a piece of our hearts for generations to see. We are leaving a legacy of love. Leaving a piece of our hearts for generations to see. We are leaving a legacy of love.
Let's say the prayer of protection together. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well.
We are love, joy, and peace. Everything else we release. We are love, joy, and peace. This is our gift to the world. We are love, joy, and peace. Everything else we release. We are love, joy, and peace. This is our gift to the world. This is our gift to the world.